first question that came in here was everyone says I need to offer referral bonuses, cash incentives, or reward programs to get more word of mouth business. I've been trying this, but people still aren't referring. Just kind of feels like I'm bribing people. Am I missing how referrals are actually supposed to work?
What's that last part? What's the last?
Am I missing how referrals are actually supposed to work?
Well,
Yes.
yes, yeah. Well, number one, he's not. You should, whomever you're trying to get a referral from, it's just like anything else. I think you have to understand their motivations, and if you're going after somebody that has, if they're also a vendor or a supplier or something that you share a client with, you must figure out their motivations. Why would they want to refer? And a lot of people, I guess, I don't know what he's offering. If it's not working, then obviously he doesn't understand their motivation, or it doesn't seem dollars and cents enough for people to refer to you. I think you can't just arbitrarily throw something out there and go, yeah, we're just going to start getting referrals. It doesn't work. You still got to market it. You still got to be in contact with people and use your system on the back end with the contacting them once a month or calling the ones that are A's. I think a lot of people just put that out there and print somewhere, and they think they're just going to shower in. They just sit back and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to get all these referrals, and it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
What's the
This is
target's
it's
motivation?
in situations like if they're going to, that's not really a. Was the last question that they asked? Yeah, they said, "Am I not understanding referrals right?" Yeah, so it goes just all right. Hold on a second. What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, it would be really nice if you just went around to everybody and go, "Hey, you know what? Just do this thing and it'll give you a referral, your referral fee, right?" Because that's what they're asking about, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
money for a referral,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are they referring for what, and why are they referring? At home we have whatever the dish network or dish TV or something, whatever it is. And every once in a while they'll flash on their screen, "Hey, $50 when you refer somebody to Dish Network," and I go, I don't even know. Most people I know have cable, and a lot of people don't even have that anymore. So there's a couple things that just flash through my mind, but the bottom line is, nah, one, it's not worth it. I don't really care. It has to be worth it, and I have to care if somebody's going to send you a referral. And typically too, um, we're
You may
looking
not
for
trust them
more.
enough. Like
Well,
you're going,
right,
Dish Network, I've
exactly.
had nothing but problems with you. I'm going to refer someone to you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you have to work it. You can't just have it out there, right? You got to build
Right.
trust with these people that they go, man, you know what? You're a good company. I want to refer people to you. And you do that if you have trust in some sort of relationship. I didn't mean to cut you off, John, but
No, no, that's fine. Because what Chuck is describing is what you want is a recommendation, not just a referral.
mm,
So, we call them referrals. In my book, I call them referrers. And I would think today, if I wrote that again, I would probably call it a recommendation, a recommender, because a recommender will do this for no money. They just know that they're doing the right thing. Oh, you know what? You have this thing going on. You should really call Chuck. You should call Ian. You should get a hold of John. Whatever the case is, you should really do that. They don't want any money involved. And if you offer them money, they'll often kind of feel shoddy. They'll go, you know what? I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for that. It's not the point. I did it because it's the right thing to do. So that's a recommender. And ideally, you want recommenders. Uh, a referral partner often like people will say it's like a joint venture, right? It's almost like a mini joint venture, right? That's a mini joint venture. If somebody recommends or refers somebody to you, and like what Chuck was talking about is that you have to when you want to have a conversation with somebody. You don't want to just send something to them and go, hey, send somebody over here and I'll give you this money. You want to have a conversation with them and ask them, they might not even be worth your time to even do this to. But if I spam a million of them, maybe. But that's not going to work either. But if we have a conversation with them and go, all right, talk to them about what they're doing, and do you ever have these? Here's what I do, and here's how it's a benefit to the people that you work with, because we probably work with the same kind of people. When these kind of things come up, we're really handy for them to have, or handy for you to have, depending on who you are. Because sometimes they get in a jam with your service, and we can help them out. So so they have to. Chuck, one of the first things he said is you have to understand your client's motivations, and so, or your referral partner's motivations. So if you understand their motivation, you can help them understand how this is a real benefit to refer or recommend people over here. And now, whether they're doing it for money or they're just the goodness of the heart is just how it plays out. Because often they'll go, well, what's in it for me? Well, we'll help you out of this jam. We'll help your customer out of this jam so they don't leave you, and often that's enough. Uh, but sometimes it's not. They go, well, yeah, but we can do that with a million other people. All right, let me throw some money at
Yeah.
you. Will that work? And then, because often they'll go, well, it's not really about money. It's about helping them. And then when you get a little further into it, they go, well, we would like to get some money out of it. How many times have we been down that road? But most of the people that have ever recommended business to us have done it for free, because we've had the conversation. They understand the value. We understand their motivation, so we can speak to that. If you just send something to them, go, hey, what, you can make money when you refer business. It's not going to work that way. It's all like, I brought up mini joint ventures. Uh, Most joint ventures don't work. You have to work them, and part of that is up front. When you even try to create a joint venture, you have to understand their motivation. So there's communication skills here. Hey, you give them a jingle. Here's what we're doing. Let me send you information. Follow it up after you send it out, and then you've got it, and then get going on it. And then you have to work it. And that can mean a lot of different things depending on what the situation is. One being, like Chuck brought up, giving them a call every however often, every month, or however, whatever makes sense with this relationship, to keep them referring on the front of their minds.
But
So
sometimes they do it just because they like you. It doesn't.
yeah,
You have to
yeah,
figure it
yeah.
out.
There's a lot. Yeah, a lot of people do business with you just because they like it. Well, that's a foundational thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they like you, they'll do business with you. If they don't like you, they won't.
Right.
So you want to. So therefore, you want to have the right conversation with them, right? And make it about them, not
Right.
about you, because they'll find you very interesting if you talk about them. So there's understanding their motivation, having a good conversation. And the best communicators rule the world. The best communicators make a ton of money. And if you understand this, right? You understand that you need to um, touch base on a few of these dimensions on their end. It's not all about a sales
Right.
presentation, which is just so far off base, but it's what they teach us in the world. Hey, we've got this great thing going on. You're going to love it. Da 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 da. And you haven't even asked them if it makes sense to them. So there's communication skills, understanding their motivation, and then the follow up to make sure that it works is probably the three keys, right? Understanding them, yeah, having a good, getting a hold of them, and having a conversation, and a good conversation, being a good, decent enough communicator, understanding in that conversation what their motivation is, and then keeping in touch in the right sort of way, and then it works. So the answer to the last part of that question was, if am I not understanding referrals right? I would say, think about it that way and test it, and then feel how it
Right.
works. I would bet that your referral experience is going to be totally different in a good
Right.
way.
And I think too, you need to ask yourself. He obviously came up with something like, I want to offer X amount. What was the thought process to bring you there?
Yeah,
Why'd you just come up with this? How did that, because you're thinking about you. You got to think about the referrer or the recommender. Quit thinking about,
yeah,
because you probably went, well, I can give up this much on my deal, and I can get a deal and it's worth this. I can make my money back in this kind of time. Instead of going, okay, what would motivate a recommender to send someone to me, instead of me trying to just throw something out there. So
yeah. And Chuck was almost he started to use the word arbitrary. arbitrarily come up with some, and that's what a lot of people do
Mm-hmm.
is it's just arbitrary. It's not based on anything. And well, I think maybe this works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, but let's it's important not to be arbitrary.
Right.
Yeah. And you hear some people say, well, everything else is arbitrary. That's absolutely not true. You start somewhere. You start with a stake in the ground, like a hypothesis or something, or do a little discovery, right? We talk a lot about discovery in a sales process, right? That's the first thing. We do recon and discovery and understanding. We understand what's going on, and then you have some baseline to go, okay, let me test this. And also, like one of the things Chuck was just saying is, well, I think I can give up this much of my deal. Often you don't have to give up that much of the deal. And if you lead with giving that much of the deal, sometimes they want more. And now you're in a weird situation. Well, I can't afford that. Well, the other company says, they'll give me
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, the other company's probably doing a little different math to come up with that
Right.
number, like we've experienced a million times, where we go, hey, we'll give you, hypothetically, we'll give you 15%. And we're talking about of everything. However, the competition might go, man, we'll give you 80%, but they don't tell you it's 80% of this much, where we're 15% of all of this. And so we would actually probably pay something like twice as much, but it doesn't sound as, but
Mm-hmm.
the person on the other end doesn't necessarily know that. They don't know they don't necessarily know what they're asking or talking about, or, we're getting into a little different subject now, but it's like, be intentional with this and so many things.